Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Euro Trade. I'm Marcus Stalker D, and I've got MYM long going here just to see if we can get that Tokyo fake out, Frankfurt fake out, however you want to call it, for this London session on my live account. Just 3 micros. You know, it is the summertime, so I prefer to be a bit more risk averse during the second part of July because it's low volumes, not that much going on, but out of all of the equities, I think YM has been still moving decently for the London session. Not like, you know, not anything crazy, so don't expect miracles. But, you know, there's a pretty good chance of fading the Asia move that we had. I see that Kieran is asking whether the selling in NQ at 5 o'clock before the hour due to some headline that I missed. No, it's not a headline. I looked at Financial Juice. But what typically happens at the last sort of couple of hours of Tokyo, first hour of Frankfurt, the Eurex exchange, is you will get this like take profit move. Now, what does that mean? It means that into the end of the session, and this goes for everything, by the way, it's not just related to Tokyo, it's all the sessions and all settlements of respective exchanges. They basically just fade the move. The only time that's not the case is if you have either OPEX or, you know, some kind of a big outlier day. So you can always get these opportunities to fade the move, and that's actually a setup that I was quite well known for, and probably still am, I suppose. But it was my setup that I would do either into the Euro close or into London Open or into Globex Open as well. That can happen. So if you're in a brokerage account or you're trading with a firm that can allow you to keep trading for that final hour of electronic trade, because you can actually keep going until my 10 p.m. whereas with Topstep, because of the settlement and their own risk management, they ask you to close your trades by sort of 10 past 9. I'm talking GMT, BST, UK-based times. So the equivalent in Eastern time would be from 4 p.m. till 5 p.m. Some companies will allow you to still hold positions, and I actually love that trade. So this is kind of similar, right? So you have Tokyo close, fades, and then you have the next session opening. Typically, they reverse whatever they're doing. Now, obviously, some, you know, context matters as well. So you can't be just, oh, yeah, it took out Asia high, let's short it. You know, you have to take in the trend into consideration. What is it that you're trading? So, yeah, we'll see how this YM goes. But, you know, it's still quiet. Volumes are still pretty meh. You know, if we look on the daily chart, and if we kind of compare some of the volumes that we had in April, May, like we're just constantly reducing in volume. So yeah, just be careful of that. But usually when it's low volume and nothing's going on, any sort of a takeout of a major level can be sort of used to run these types of trades. Now the daily chart, why I'm pretty range bound, and I think most equities are. Again, not surprising, it is July. Super low risk on this. So we're going to see what they want to do with it. If they don't do anything with it, then we're just going to leave it alone and wait for a better time of the day, right? But yeah, so that's the setup that I'm trying here. Copper has been super quiet during this time, which is why I'm not really keen on trading it until we get sort of post NY cut. So in the UK times, that will be post 3 p.m. and Eastern post 10 p.m. Central post 9 p.m. So pick your time zones. But yeah, the one thing that I want to see here is that we hold above this moving average line. I have increased the moving average line to 16 because I don't want to be too zoomed into like super low time frames. Because if we get stuck in, you know, another range and just complete sideways movement, that's going to reflect on this slightly bigger moving average and the ribbon. And for now, this is very sideways. So if we can get a little bit of a squeeze up, like I said, don't expect miracles, and you know, we're not going to be running 300 ticks up immediately. That may happen into the overlap, but not quite yet. I think it's a little bit too early for that. So yeah, we'll see. I have bookmap open. We have just flipped into positive delta on YM. Sometimes once you get that flip from negative delta into positive delta, that can be a pretty decent time to get involved. Now, the challenge there is if the delta was extraordinarily negative, which I don't think was the case here. If I kind of scroll back. Yeah, so it was just kind of not that negative. But yeah, anytime you have heavily positive or heavily negative delta and then the flip happens, typically you will be late to the party. So you have to have some other ways of maybe looking for icebergs or looking at like an order block of like 3 or more thick prices where you can see them on bookmap, where they basically just stop the progression of the price, because they might take out like 1 level, 2 levels maybe, but you want to have like a thick area where several prices have thicker prices. So that's kind of a trick that you can watch out for in real time if you have enough calmness, I suppose. So yeah, I'm just going to stay on a 5-minute chart here. But yeah, everything's pretty thin again this morning. Copper looking a bit patchy. Natural gas doing absolutely nothing right now. I mean, even DAX is not doing too many things, and this is like its main session, so yeah, we'll see. In regards to the options, YM doesn't have any notable options, but I do have yet another trick there. I do convert some of the ES levels into YM, and then I also always watch what ES is doing on another chart to see whether we can get some traction in and around its own levels. So we have some HVLs and GEX1s between 340 and 350. And we'll see if that can maybe bring us a bit of a push at some point this morning over the next 90 minutes. GWA says, D, why not trade gold? I'm long MGC from 33.99.6, targeting 34.19. Because to me, that's like a time of day in gold where we actually get stuck. So very rarely will you see the gold kind of having super amazing moves for these first 2 hours of London. Usually Asia moves it really well. So if you're going to trade gold, trade Asia. However, because LME, London Metal Exchange, is not open yet, technically there's not too many people actively trading it. So you might get a few moves here and there. But you know, for my liking on gold, I prefer to trade it post NY cut or Asia if I happen to be awake, and I'm usually not. So yeah, to me, let's see. Yeah, so you're basically looking for a sustained auction higher, but you have VWAP in the way, you have settlement in the way from yesterday. all in the span of 34.03. You also have a put support, former put support from end of day yesterday, which is 34.05. I don't like having strong levels in the way whenever I'm trying to do a sustained auction. Sustained auction for me is a setup that you would basically need to have a clean slate before either the next options level and or the next sort of value area or quantitative extreme. To me, this has way too many speed bumps on the way. So that's the reason behind that. It just wrong time of day and too many strong levels to battle through. And you know, if I look at gold on the larger time frames, we can have a look at that. Very range bound, right? This is a weekly chart, go down to daily, hitting a supply, so overhead supply, former put support from yesterday. Whole bunch of VWAPs and settlement prices, and it's just, you know when I say, oh, it's got the ick factor? Yeah, that's how I would be looking at gold. Too many things in the way to make that into a smooth, sustained auction. And also, we have another supply on a 30-minute chart at 34.03. So if anything, to me, this would be maybe a short at some point. But again, wrong time of day. So to me, breakouts have to happen at the time of day when we have the most volume and the most chance of somebody actually pushing that in the correct direction. If I don't get that, I don't like it. You know, I'm a fairly systematic trader. So when the puzzle pieces stack up to the wrong side, I just stay out. Boring, I know. Very boring. Bryant wants to know thoughts on platinum. Let's have a look at platinum. Bit zero, I'll get to your question as well. I'm not sure whether I have ES here. Maybe they've given it to us. Let me just see what's going on. I don't have ES in my live, sorry, I don't trade it often enough. Can have a look at it on my other charts, but ES, I mean, we made an all-time high again, didn't we? Was that an all-time high? Yeah. Longs? At some point? You know, people keep fighting the longs on ES because it's all-time high, it has to sell off. Yeah, that kind of thinking is something that usually causes people to lose a lot of cash. But again, time of day is weird now. I suppose ES is opening slightly below value. Undecided at the moment on ES, so that takeout of the lows, not the strongest either. We're now creating a poor low, so that might get taken at some point today. Bangkok trading, hold short, gold. Okay, so do you know how I said wrong time of day? I wouldn't be holding anything on gold right now. I don't think it's the right time to be trading gold. So throw some platinum. Yes, D, concentrate. Platinum, platinum, platinum. Let's find it. Platinum. Still inside the initial balance. On platinum, one area that I might look at is 1500. So if we get back up there, there could be shorts because we have gone into a bit of a sideways movement since a day ago. So if that holds, that could be a decent area to run some intraday shorts. But overall, I want to be long on platinum. So let's have a look. haphazardly going higher in this weird compression like manner. This is like supply demand compression, right? So you create a demand, make a new higher high, sell off to a demand, bounce from it, make a higher high, create another demand, make another higher high, pop back into demand, make another high, create yet another demand. Is it going to test that? Maybe. If it tests somewhere near 1422, that might not be a bad choice to get involved. But with the supply and demand compression, which is what this looks like, you can have a day where one single day just takes all of this out. So this sort of price action I don't like to see in a trending market, because it exposes you to somebody just coming in, and you know, platinum is so thin. Like anyone coming in with a slightly larger order, larger meaning like 10 contracts, that's considered pretty large in platinum. They can take the entirety of the order book. So, you know, be very careful trading platinum, because we don't really have much to fall back on. And if that happens, that outlier day where it just smashes through everything is very much on the cards. So whenever I'm looking for trending days, I want to see clean candles. Like, for example, this is one good area. So, you know, you have nice long clean candles, no overlap. That's nice, right? And you can then say, well, since it's a nice clean uptrend, I'm not going to do shorts, but I'm only going to try doing longs, right? But whenever it starts to look messy, and similar for a downtrend, right? This is like a very nice clean downtrend. As soon as it starts overlapping candles, especially on the daily chart, which is pretty large, it means that yes, there's somebody buying it and they keep buying it, but they're not really that committed to it. And even if you look, like it's like one day up, another day down, up, down, up, down, down. It's like literally like somebody on a trampoline just going up, down, but we're sort of jumping higher every time we go up. Inside candles in a trending market, ick. But yeah. And again, context matters. What are you trading? Does that generally have an upward bias or a downward bias? Is the current trend with that upward or downward bias or against it? Because you can have trending markets that go counter trend at some point and it carries on for days, weeks, you know. But yeah, currently platinum just sitting still inside the initial balance. Pretty low volume. Just basically chopping around. You know, on a 15-minute chart, it looks like soldiers lining up. Look at that. That's what that looks like. Beautiful. So yeah, maybe Dolby Paradise, you know, Scalper's Paradise. Long here, short here until this changes. Or until LME opens, if you're that kind of a trader. To me, I don't like wasting mental capital on things like that. Unless I'm doing like a mean reversion. And then I'll be like, okay, it's a failed auction. We've just consolidated for like 2 hours at a particular level. By the way, I don't have a level here, so that's nothing to see here, basically. But if I do have a level and I see that, I might try running a mean reversion. And then the way I typically tackle consolidations, because I'm not looking for a range trade, I'm looking for a mean reversion, I would typically use the middle of the consolidation as my entry and accommodate the stop loss to account for a liquidity grab that might happen but it might also not, because if it's a mean reversion, they tend to start turning it around and they ping it back up pretty quickly. So yeah, those are my thoughts on platinum. So really no thoughts yet, but generally long if the opportunities arise. Something happened in copper right now, so let's have a look. Actually, let's look at HG, because that's a big contract. Yeah, a little pop in copper. This is a marker from yesterday, so I'm going to delete that. So copper just livened up. Is it in any areas? No. So copper opened inside value. We just went over GEX2 level. In fact, the GEX levels have not really changed markedly since yesterday. Also means that it's a quiet day. So yeah. Ross says, hi Dee, I'm looking at gold as it has a bullish hourly close. Broke the London IB high. So should grind up to an Asian IB low. So it could. I'm not saying it couldn't. Definitely could. Just be careful with those strong levels on the way that I was just talking about. Because, I don't know, the good setups on gold just don't look like that. You know, you don't want to have things in the way. All right, so copper. I'm not in copper right now. Won't be trading it until later. But there is that GEX2 at 65, so 565. If they can't sustain above 65, I would expect a sell-off. Not like it's not an NQ, right? So it's going to be slower. But you can expect them to at least go back to 563, which is the next strong level. So on an inside day, I would err on the side of failed breakout attempts on copper. If that ever changes, then, you know, we can have a look at maybe trading towards 570. But, you know, trading towards the quantitative extremes at 568, 570. Which, incidentally, is also where the next options level is. Funny how that works, eh? But yeah. Brant is asking, have I abandoned my YouTube channel? No, but I'm struggling with my energy. So I traveled to see my mom. Kind of didn't take into account that I need a lot of rest and stuff. So I'm going through a week of just sleeping through the day. You know, I would sleep for 11 hours, then I wake up, and after I finish these streams, I need another 2.5 hours sleep. So that has not been great. Suppose a new low in my illness that I got a mobility aid. It's terrible. Yeah, so I got one of those motorized I don't want to say it, wheelchairs, right? So when my legs are not working and stuff, so I can zoom around the house without spending too much of my energy. Anyways, let's move on from that topic. But yeah, I didn't abandon it. It's just extremely difficult for me to manage my energy in a way that's not going to be detrimental for me. I thought I was better. I was like, yeah, let's do live streams at least once a week. And then I decided for some reason to do a Tuesday live stream on my own channel. And then I traveled and I didn't rest enough. And I thought, yeah, I can do all of this. And then my body reminded me that I can't. So yeah, I might do a live stream on my channel tomorrow, because tomorrow, like Wednesdays are not super busy for me. So I have the newer Wednesday. And because I have Jerome here, obviously he helps me, save my voice. And, he does the lecture on neuroscience. So maybe I can move my live streams to a Wednesday or maybe a Friday, even though I try to take Fridays off because, again, it's very difficult for me still to manage my energy. And, I would like that not to be the case, because I love what I do and I would love to sit in front of a camera all the time like I used to, right? Like dial back to 2021, 2020 before I got sick. I loved it. It was like, yeah, let's do daily live streams every day. Let's see what's going on. But yeah. Anyways, let's just track what's going on here. So yeah, so far copper is struggling around that GEX2 level. Now on natural gas, there is some lack of demand, like the muted demand for the summer. So I don't know whether maybe we can take that. I actually sniped a really good long into the close on natural gas yesterday. I have a level at 325 on natural gas that could be of interest. And that's actually where I... no, it was 330 yesterday. 330. Yeah, so I'll... So 330 yesterday. There it is. No, that's not it. Is this it? Yeah, here we go. So this was the time when I love doing those fades. You know how I started this stream talking about the fades of into the settlement, and just after the settlement as well it can happen. So I had a level in mind of 330. I also had 325 yesterday too, because options have not really moved much, so it's like it's still the same level, so we can still use the same areas. But yeah, so I waited and waited and waited, and then I saw on Bookmap that they were turning it around. So I was like, here it comes, here it comes. And then I took most of this off right around here. Why? Because we then settled. And after settlement, sometimes they can continue the move, but a lot of the times they will try to continue and then and just come back down. So I usually, if I run these settlement trades, I will literally cut them pretty much as soon as it settles, with the help of order flow, obviously, so I do stare at that a fair bit. So yeah. Pi says, I want to use the previous day value areas for copper, but I don't know whether I should draw from previous NY session or from Globex previous day. Not the entire 24 hours, but the way I approach and teach my market stalkers is to use the session that you're currently doing. There is not much value in having a look at 24-hour values from the previous day and then try and use that as intraday. If you're a swing trader and you can wait for like oodles of time for your setups to work out based on those signals, yes, but you're not going to get too many opportunities for like a gap fill and stuff. So the way you're supposed to use the value areas is to focus on the session that you're trading. So that's either going to be the short in London session until the next session starts. So the only time you're going to have an issue with that is London into COMEX. Why? Because London and COMEX have this overlap time when both of them are trading together, and to me that pollutes the data, so I don't like it. The way we've done our indicators according to my specs is if you're going to trade London, you basically cut off the calculation for the value area previous day whenever the next session starts. So for COMEX, in my time zone, it will be 1:30. I mean 1:20, but we did some tests. 1:30 is absolutely fine. And then you will compare previous day London to current day London. Do not mix and match. So don't go, oh, I'm just going to compare COMEX yesterday with London. Mixing apples and oranges. Different players with different goals, different setups, different levels, different everything, right? So if you're trading COMEX, only focus on COMEX RTH from previous day. So that's how I teach. That's how I do things. Juan wants to know, how do I have two charts up? So you see this select layout area. If you click on that, it gives you quite a few layout options, right? You can have one chart, which is the default for most people. You can have two charts like I do here. This is my standard layout. You can have them up and down, so not horizontal but vertical. Woo. And the same thing for 3 charts, 4 charts, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So go nuts. Go nuts. You can have 8 charts. That would be a bit crazy. Do you see that the thing on the main broadcast? They were talking about this guy that had like 1,000,000 screens. Like literally, he has a full. It looks some kind of an early warning center. It's like, what are you tracking? Like, I want to know. What can you see? Because I've got 5 screens here, and it's like 5 screens. Because I do the streams and because I do the broadcast with the main top steppers, I found that my previous 4 screens were a little bit tight. Like I just couldn't get enough. You have like 4 charts. I have Bookmap. Typically have 1 or 2 execution platforms, sometimes 3. Then I have the stream, and then I have Discord because Bruno helps me with the questions and stuff, so I have to have those open. And then I was like, well, where do I put the actual screen when I'm talking to people? Like, where does that go? And I just had to like keep flipping and flopping between the browsers. And it's like, I think I need a 5th screen. So we got a 5th screen. That's, something to do. But yeah, it helped to actually have me have enough kind of screen real estate to not have to flip and flop between chart or Bookmap and this or Slack. Because we also have Slack as a communication intra-company. Yeah, it was quite a revelation. So 5 screens at the moment. But yeah, having like 1,000,000 screens. What are you gonna do? Like scan from one end of the room to the other? We only have 2 eyes. How does that work? Teddy says, why are we talking about screens for 10 minutes? Focus on the charts. It's because I'm in a trade already, man. Patience. Somebody here who doesn't have patience. At the end of the live, you will have lost your voice. That always happens. I have another issue there that has been there for years. Probably stemming from the fact that I was a premature baby. I was in a rush. So yeah, my voice does suffer from fatigue. Fair enough. But yeah, so I'm already in a YM trade. I've got nothing else to do but wait now. So, we can talk about charts, we can talk about screens, we can talk about everything. And Teddy, if you don't like it, you don't have to watch, man. I'm not forcing anyone with a stick to be here. Yeah, Bruno is being funny. Less talking, more trading. Here's the thing. During the summer, it should be less trading, more talking. Maybe you'll stop blowing XFAs that way. But yeah, because, those people who are like, oh, why aren't you doing more trades? Yeah, more trades equals less money, usually. Not for everyone. But you look at the best scalpers out there, they do like 3 to 5 trades per day. You don't see rips doing 1,000,000 trades per day, do you? You see like 2 or 3. And yeah, You don't have to do a million trades. In fact, that I would argue that's the wrong way to do things. But hey, no, Marcus, I know that was a joke. No, I know. Yeah, this was meant for our friend Teddy over there who was complaining that I'm talking too much. So yeah, should we do a stream where I just don't talk? Is that a thing? Yeah. So it's like here's a suspenseful stream where I'm only doing no talking and just focusing on the charts, because this is what I look like normally. Then I have to get my feet up. Is that better? Just focusing on the charts, not talking. Very exciting. Yeah, silence, best viewability. Yeah, super high clicks, man. Trading Nico says, you're literally how I wake up 4 out of the 5 days. No talking? Oh dear. Yeah. Yeah. Alexander says, I think Rips was more focused on a poker trader. I mean, he's a poker player as well as a trader. You know, he's good at both. And yeah, fair enough. Yeah. Do an ASMR stream if it's in the indicators. Yeah. Jay Huffold says, more talking, less trading. Yeah. Morning. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah. ASMR stream. So it's funny you say that, because I had a short where I did do an ASMR, but it was a joke. Because all of my shorts and stuff, or a lot of them, they're a bit on the funny side, intentionally, on my channel. So yeah, I poke fun at the trading community. I poke fun at, you know, everything that kind of crosses my mind, but in an educational way, right? So one of them, I said 3 main reasons why you're blowing your combines. Reason number 1, you're trading with too much size. Reason number 2, you're trading with too much size. Reason number 3, you're trading with too much size. So stop it. That's literally the short. And I, because I had the microphone like really high up so it could pick up the whisper, it kind of distorted at the end when I shouted, so stop it. And I did that because one of my market stalkers was like, oh no, I oversized. I was like 200 away from passing. And then I blew it and I was like, why did you size up? I was so annoyed. 0 to Fund, it says, who are some of the other online traders you have a lot of respect for? So Nick for a Tick is one. So I know he left us. He left us. But yeah, I have a lot of respect for Nick. He is amazing. Jerome also. Jerome D, our very own Dr. Jerome. I don't know whether he would be classified an online trader because he doesn't really have an online presence yet, but I think he's just starting his YouTube channel. Ty wants to know where am I from, Can't pick it. Yeah, you're not the only one, mate. So I've lived in the UK, in London specifically, since about 2000, but I was born and raised in Belgrade, Serbia. However, because my dad was a pretty famous Yugoslavian musician, there were a lot of, like, he traveled a lot, and there was like, all of my household speaks multiple languages. I'm actually an odd one out where I don't. I just speak 2 that I had to learn, English and Serbian. I've been speaking English since I was very, very young, since I was 2. And then my family kind of tried to teach me Italian and German, but that didn't, like, I can sort of understand it, but not really. However, me being a musician, I take on accents. So depending on who I'm talking to and who's around me in like real life, I will start to take on and mimic somewhat their accents. So I have an English husband through and through, but he's a bit weird as well because he kind of picks up accents as well. So when I first met him, I thought he was Australian or something because he kept saying water and better. And I'm like, where are you from? And he goes, Essex. It's like, you sound nothing like you're from Essex. And then he lived in Dublin and he had an Australian roommate and it all kind of just mixed in. I think he sounds more English now, although I don't know. I'm not, yeah. I don't think I'm objective enough. But for me, my accent is some weird blend of English, American, possibly Serbian sometimes. You know, I don't think I sound particularly Eastern European, but some words maybe creep in, especially if I've been to see my mom, where I speak Serbian only, obviously, and struggle with it because I don't really speak Serbian to anyone over here. So the only time I get to practice the language is when I go over there. And every time I come back, because, you know, they have the hard R's and stuff, I kind of find I need like about a week to get back to my normal accent. But yeah, I think my accent these days is heavily laced with English. Some words that I say are very English. So yeah, this YM is doing absolutely nothing. Oh joy. Yeah, and then 0 to Funder. Let me see if I've got any more traders that I have respect for. I'm thinking you're thinking YouTubers, right? So let me have a have a think. I don't know. I mean, maybe some of the old crowd like JJ. Does he even trade live? I don't know, because I know he does a lot of like explanations and analysis videos, but I don't know whether he. Yeah, Tom Hugard is one. Is he a YouTuber? More of an author. I think he gets a lot of stick for no good reason. I think he's an excellent trader. He's like, do I agree with everything he says? No, but I think he's extremely intelligent, very funny. That's what matters. You can't just be like, you know, if you go into YouTube game and online streaming, you have to have a bit of like flair of some sort. But yeah, there are a fair few. I mean, there's just the ones off the top of my head, but yeah, there's a number of them. Pi says not PW. You know what? I have huge respect for anyone who sticks it long enough in this game to become profitable. And yeah, I mean, maybe he's one of the, you know, kind of fake it till you make it guys, but fair play to him. Like, I have nothing. I know that he's got a big mouth and stuff, but I don't know. I don't really get involved in in online feuds. But yeah, anyone who sticks it out long enough in this game to get consistency, I will always applaud that. I am always saying that trading is very difficult. And if you are stubborn enough to hold on and to keep chipping away at any inconsistencies you may have, all full props, man, full props. But, you know, all the other stuff, I'm not getting involved. And, you know, I'm going to be Switzerland. Because it's just, you know, it is what it is, right? Some people love that sort of sensationalist whatever, but yeah, I don't know. I'm a woman. I'm a bit older. Granny D over here. I poke fun at myself enough. And, you know, I have a very good sense of humor, so I don't know. I think it's all just banter with him. I don't think that he's generally like that in real life. But yeah, anything for clicks. I'm not very good at Twitter, and I'm not, you know, I don't do the whole what do you call it, shit posting. Yeah, I've never done that. It's kind of another generation, right? It's another generation. I am not particularly connected to social networks aside of, yes, I have a Twitter, yes, I have a YouTube channel, yes, I have Instagram, but you see how often I post there. Not very often, right? Because I'm pretty busy. Like, I have 8 dogs to take care of. I have 3 businesses. It's like, I don't have time to sit on Twitter and just that's not a part of my business, right? But, if that is something that people are relying on in their, in their income and stuff, fair play. If that's what you need to do whatever, to feed your family, right? And to go get that money. I'm all for that. But I just can't be bothered. However, there are people out there who are exceptionally good at just putting a whole bunch of stuff on the internet and just going, yeah, let's just do like 100 posts a day. Like, even if I tried, I don't think I can come up with 100 posts, but I can't come up with 2, let alone, sitting there every day and posting whatever comes to my mind. Different generations, I suppose. I didn't really grow up with internet. Internet came in full force when I was already in my 20s, and I just can't understand why you would, like, some of the TikTokers as well, they put all of their thoughts out on the internet. Whatever stupid thought that pops into their head, they will put it on the internet, and then it goes viral, and then they just look like absolute assholes. And I'm like, why would you do that? It's like, just be stupid in your own time, don't put it out there. And we've all been Muppets. Look, I've been a Muppet many times, you say something dumb, but luckily it's not going to be on the internet, right? If you just say it in the house to somebody. Let's move off of this 5-minute chart. It's like, maybe even go to the 30-minute chart, because nothing is really, like, I'm not going to stare at 5-minute charts while I'm waiting for them to make a decision where the bloody hell they're going to go. Alexander says, we saw the doggos on Instagram again. That's cool enough. Yeah, that's what I post. I post dogs because, what do I do all day? I hang with my dogs. That is like literally 70% of my life. Watching dogs sleep and going to the park to play the game called Where's the Blue Ball? We're down a red ball. Do you have Bond's ball? Because that's what we do in the field. We take like 5-6 balls with us. Everybody pretty much has their own. A couple of them are not really ball people. Bulldogs, and and then we just spend an hour looking for balls. That's my life. That is my life. Yeah. How do you get the dome on the right? Yeah, this was a question that somebody else asked before, so let's do that. I'm gonna remove the dome. You see this plus? See this plus here? This plus here. It says add components. Click, and then the very first component is going to be the dome. Dome, depth of market ladder, however you want to call it. Click and drag, so don't let go. Hold on. And then drag it until this little map appears. And then place it wherever you want. I like it on the right. Let go. And then it's going to bring you the dome with ES for some weird reason, because it defaults to ES. I suppose that's what everybody trades. And then you have to change the contract that you want to do. However, if you don't have level 2 data, you will only have the ES like it popped out for me, right? Just like one price. So these extra prices are called level 2 data. And if you want that, it is an extra charge. Bruno, remind me, is it $49 a month? And it might renew every... No, actually, that's the data exchange. I don't know. I'm confused. Yeah, so... so yeah, there's an extra charge for level 2 data. So if you don't pay for level 2 data, then you won't have... for YM is 10 prices. But if I go into crude oil, then it's 100 because it's a widely traded instrument. Still, I don't know why. But yeah. So yeah. I'm just gonna have some vape because I need nicotine. All right, 39 months billed each first of the month. So if you sign up now, unfortunately, they're gonna charge you again on the first because it's just how it goes. That's not them, that's the CME. They just work on every first of the month. So if you want to sign up for level 2 data, please do it on the first or right after the first, just to get like the maximum amount of money. Yeah. Desmond says, D, the roadblocks you mentioned in GC is playing out if one is long. Yeah, you see? Let's have a look at that. This is why I don't like that setup for longs, because you think you've got something, then it runs into, like, X1 was literally at 3,400, and they tried. It looked like, oh my God, are we going up? But you know how I say, is it sustaining? And what do I mean by that? I mean, is at least a 15-minute time frame holding and closing above the level with no selling wicks? It's like basic price action 101, right? You don't even need order flow for that. Just look at it. And if you have an important level that is options related, and you go, well, it's at 3,400, are we managing to hold above it with no selling wicks? Because you don't want to see that. It means that they've gone over it, and they always overshoot a little bit because, you know, gold is slippery. Maybe we should make those t-shirts. I have crude oil is slippery, but maybe gold is the new merch star. So I don't want to see this. I want to see, like, let's say we had an important level down here, and then you see something like this. That, and let's say we're coming from underneath it, we get up to a major level, keeps going higher, and then holds above the important level with no discernible wicks on the candle. Again, let's define the discernible wicks. When you look at the composition of the candle, is the wick comprising more than 50% of its length? That's not good. That means sellers are around, okay? So really, you don't want to have a wick that's more than about 3/4 of the candle if there is a selling wick. But ideally, if you're looking for a level to break in your favor to the same direction, so let's say upside, this is a no. At the very least on a 15-minute time frame, right? If you look at a 5-minute, you might see something similar, but 15 minutes is like 3 times bigger than a 5-minute candle, and therefore carries a lot more trading information and activity inside it. Therefore, it's a better signal intraday. But way too many people are just zoomed in on a 5-minute. I like to flip between. It's a part of my OODA loops, OODA loops, however you want to pronounce that. And I keep going, okay, what's on a 5-minute chart? There's a consolidation. And it's like, really, you don't really see very well what's going on here. Then you go 15 minutes. And you're like, ugh, selling wicks. And then you go maybe 30 minutes. What do we have here? Well, we had a doji, also comprising more than 50% of the selling wick of the entire candle length. It's not good. And then you get this, and it's like, yeah, whoever was long, sorry, I feel bad. Hopefully you ended up at break even, you know. Difficult. So wrong time of day, strong levels in the way. Ugh. Gold is a slippery, sweeping seductress. She's great. Yeah, I like gold in moderation. I do miss it. Do miss the days when you could still do where you could still do like 35, 40 ticks and get 100 tick move. Now it's like one 30-minute candle is like 110 ticks wide. It's like, ugh. Ouch. So to me, that makes it a little bit painful. But swings on gold are pretty fun. You get in on a late move with the trend, you just leave it, and it makes money. But obviously we have to be flat at the end of the day with prop. So, yeah. Oh, this MYM is annoying. It's still in a range. Trading nickels. I shorted it at 34.017 because on the overnight, every up is part of a rolling curve down. Brilliant. Love that. Yeah. And again, we had that typical, this is the London Open. So they kind of take out the Asia, even though it was pretty, it was pretty close to the low day anyway. And then the little squiggle into the London Open, right? Look at how they like to fake things out. That's kind of what I'm looking for in YM, but it's just not really doing much today. It's still a range. And you know what? I'm risking, $83, yeah. $83. So yeah, this is still a range. My invalidation point is that they really kind of smashed through the 44,500. Until that happens, I'm still thinking longs. VWAP overnight has actually acted as a resistance, but again, at this time of the day, that's also to be expected. We literally took out yesterday's low. So this area, I do like it for longs, so I am willing to maybe give it a bit more time to decide what the hell they want to do with it. ES is sort of floating around the HVL, just sub 63.40, which is where the HVL from 0DTEs is located. And then we have DAX that is sitting at its own volatility exhaustion area. So yeah, I'm still holding this because it is it's a decent area. So yeah, until they like completely smash through 44,500, I think there's still a valid trade long. We are long on most higher time frames despite this jump off a cliff that we had recently. But yesterday's let's go to the daily. Yeah, so yesterday's session low is literally 44,522. So yeah, I like it for longs. I don't like shorting equities, I'll be honest. Unless it's obviously gone into, like, let's say we have some sort of recession, or we're very, very late in the day and it's sort of been trickling up. And even if I short it, it's going to be, either the euro close, and then I don't like to hold it for very long. And if I hold it for longer, it's going to be a smaller position size just to remove risk a little bit. But yeah, still very sideways here. And again, they pop back up from my entry. It's like, yeah, there's buyers around. Shay wants to know, D, does price action have much influence on your trading style? Yeah, it's a part of my trading style. My trading style is a blend of supply and demand on larger time frames as a means of understanding the chart location. Then I have the profile components with all of its subcomponents. Then I have my quantitative extremes that should play out at a particular time of day. So I have a time of day as a component as well for very particular products. And frankly, metals and stuff, I would like to have DAX for this time of day. So, and then price action along with order flow. So I look at Bookmap, sometimes to front run trades, especially in fast moving markets. But for the most part, if I'm doing more of an intraday swing style, I will look at the composition of the candles and bookmap at the entry, and then I'll just track price action on a 30-minute time frame, depending on how long I'm planning to hold this. Now, granted, recently, because it's summertime, I have been doing a lot more scalpy type trades, you know, especially during the regular trading hours. So, you know, I have been taking like 0.8. You know, I take like 19 ticks. It's like, oh yeah, that's all right. Even though my normal take profit is between 70 and 100, but if the market is quiet and it's not giving you enough, like just take, you know, take the 100, 200 bucks that is giving you. Obviously it takes time to develop flexibility, and you have to make sure that you are indeed in a range bound day and that your trade location is pretty good. But to me, time of day, huge components in what I do, like huge. If I'm looking for, let's say, shorts in crude oil, I want them to manifest after 9 a.m. Central and into the Euro close. But if we hit lunchtime, New York lunchtime especially, which is 11 a.m. Central, I will actually stay out of crude oil and natural gas until sort of like an hour, hour and a half after. Why? Because statistically, if it's going to turn around, it's going to turn around after the lunchtime is over, when people come back, the volumes are in again, and then you might get that fade that I showed you on natural gas that I did last night. And I do that a lot. And like I said, sure, there are times when you need to go with the trend. But for example, this was yesterday. So like I said, this is a typical example of my day range fill move, day range fill trade, DRF trade, very late in the day on natural gas. So this works well for energies markets in particular. So RBOB, NG, even heating oil. You know, I've never really gelled with heating oil for some reason, even though technically it's a part of the crack spread. But I don't know, never really. Every time I trade it, I'm like, I don't know. But yeah, natural gas, RBOB, gasoline futures, and crude oil. Crude oil less so because it's a meh product these days. But yeah, natural gas still does it. There it is. So what is this move? Let's measure it. So this is like half an hour before settlement, right? How big was this move? This was a 38 tick move. And then if you count a little bit of a push, that's 40 ticks. So for a scalp, taking like 35 ticks to 40 ticks on a scalp, to me that's a good scalp. And it's a scalp D style, right? Why take 5 to 10 points when you can take 30 or 40? So time of day, and then everything else comes after. Oh, let me sit up a bit. What time does London session begin on Mountain Time? I have no idea, Rigoberto, but I can have a look for you. It's funny how, you know, some people expect us to know everything. I don't know everything, guys. I'm still learning. Every time Anne-Marie and Hogue are on, I learn new things. I'm like, oh, okay. And mind you, I've been doing this for 18 years, so I know a lot, but I don't know everything. So let's see. Does Savvy Time work? What happened with Savvy Time? I think it's okay. So MDT. Then we're going to do BST. So let's have a look. Oh, great. I'm being spammed by futures. Like you can see what what I get. It's like futures traders. No, go away. So let's see. BST, so ignore that, right? 8 a.m. Is 1 a.m. So London starts trading 8 a.m. my time, and in MDT it's 1 a.m. So hopefully that helps you. All right, Mountain Time is behind Central Time by 1 hour. I've never I don't think I've ever been anywhere. So I've been obviously to LA, I've been to Vegas, I've been to Chicago, I've been to New York, I've been to Florida. I think that's about it. From like my American escapades. Did I say New York? Yeah, been to New York. But you know, that's kind of East Coast, so. Yeah, not too many areas. It's not like I did a road trip. I always wanted to do a road trip through the States. Might be a bit more difficult now with 8 dogs. Because we were thinking of doing that when we had 2 dogs, just to go, you know, the cheesy Route 66. And now, I don't know, I would probably need like an American-style RV, which would mean I would have to get another driver's license to be able to drive it. Or hire a driver. That might be an idea. So, I think my new sofas are going to be arriving in August. I'm hoping they're going to arrive sort of in, like, I don't know, 15th of August. And then I was thinking of doing the house tour. So let me know on my channel. So let me know if anyone would like to see that. It's not like a mansion. It's like a mini mansion, right? It's not, because I didn't want stairs. So everything is single level. But it's so beautiful. So very spacious, very good for our lifestyle. So let me know if anybody would like to see that, because that would be fun to film. You know, I could get my husband to do the filming, because he does a lot of photography and stuff, and he knows a lot about video and filters and stuff. So let me know. To be like, I hate doing the lifestyle videos, but I know that people have been very curious. Like, Dee, what does your new house look like? It's nice. Very nice. Joy Soap says, just go by NY time. No one cares about the mountain dwellers. Oh, funny. Last night I got stuck on TikTok Appalachia. But I don't know how I got there. It was just like, what the actual F? I was like, what is this? Really? And isn't Appalachia like the Fallout area as well? Video game? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought that's and I thought it was a fictional place. And then I don't know whether that's why, because I was looking for like Fallout second season to see when it's gonna happen. And yeah, I suddenly found myself on this page that's like, oh, the not deer. And I was like, what? Where am I? Oh no, I've gone down to TikTok vortex of hell. What is the crime? Says London starts trading at 3 a.m. New York time. Yes, that is correct. Alexander says there's so many more and nicer road trips on Route 66, PSH in California. I know it. I know PSH very well. Yes. Yes, mostly when I'm in LA, but it's beautiful. Like, I love the ride from sort of Santa Monica into Malibu. That's just so scenic, man. They have some of the most beautiful in that part, not so much in, like, obviously downtown is a bit of a shithole, but you know, when you go towards the coast, it's breathtakingly beautiful for sure. But again, the hours, like, I could never live there. At one point we considered moving to the Bay Area because of the work and stuff, and I just could not do the whole trading. I don't know, something messes with me when I'm there. Even the setups that I do for the regular trading hours, they're so early. They're like, for me, it's like break of dawn. Although I've been better here, I'm able to kind of wake up around 7, 8, and my brain still doesn't work until 1 p.m., so maybe that's the problem. So yeah, I could never make the time zone work. And let's face it, I actually don't like hot weather much. I like it in moderation, right? It's like a little bit, maybe a couple of weeks of hot weather. I don't mind the rain, and I like the air to be like fresh. Whenever I'm in like hot countries, I kind of get sick of it after about 2 weeks, and I just want to. I grew up in a hot country, you know. Serbia gets super hot through, like, literally in March, even sometimes end of February, it starts to get pretty warm, and then you have blazing hot weather all the way through like October. Then it gets a little bit cooler, and then you have like two months of some sort of winter, even though I think the winter was a little bit cooler when I was a kid, so we used to have snow and stuff. We don't really have snow anymore over there. But yeah, you have like solid sort of 7-8 months of hot weather, and I used to hate it, man. I used to absolutely hate it. Let me convert that into Fahrenheit, because I'm always like... So every time you have summer over there, it's not unusual to get like 107, 110 degrees. That's like 42 to 45 in Celsius. That's like a normal thing. Like, you know, 105, perfectly normal. So it gets hot, and I think that's why I'm just sick of it. I'm like, just give me my wellies and give me my raincoat. And let's go. Really don't mind the rain. Any thoughts? Shay wants to know, any thoughts on newbies blending strategies? I'm trying to learn price action, market profile, and order flow liquidity concepts. So newbies blending strategies. So the problem there is that you are basically dealing with strategy design. And the problems arise when you don't fully understand all the connections in the risk models that can affect each other in almost like a fine balance in a seesaw manner. And then blending strategies is one thing. How you behave in a strategy is definitely a part of a strategy as well. So for example, you can have an awesome blend of the strategies, but when the time comes to click a button, you get paralysis analysis and you can't make up your mind. But then also maybe you're somebody who's pretty good and you can actually get 3-4 days with no losses. Now, if you smush all of those losses, you can actually divide your average winning days by half. So let's say you generate 200, then 300, then 200, and then another 300. If you divide that number by half, you can then afford to have one losing day by that number and not derail the entire system. Then on the more intraday level, you have the relationship between high accuracy and lower risk reward, or slightly higher risk reward. Like, I'm not talking 10 to 1, 5 to 1. I'm talking like 1.5 to 2R. And then having lower accuracy. So it's like there's so many different things to think about. And I just don't really, like, let's just put it this way. It takes an inordinately long time to actually come up with a strategy from scratch. So I would start with a working strategy and then tweak that. Because there are people who have done it. You know, I myself blended 2 different existing concepts, and then through that I found that I had to have something else that will give me more accuracy, because it wasn't giving me enough accuracy. So I invented the ADR as a level, and I invented time of day as a level, because that's something that I noticed was working very well for me. Nobody was talking about it, like time of day. Even now, very few people talk about time of day, and yet over and over, time of day, very important concept. Especially if you're trading like me. You know, if you want to capture a little bit of a bigger piece of the pie, even when you're scalping, you know, instead of getting 5 ticks, I like to get 30 to 40. Or when I'm doing a swing, I like to grab anywhere from 70 ticks, 100 ticks pretty frequently as well, all the way up to 500 ticks if we are in a place where the market has that sort of space. So it's like it comes to the trading location that might warrant a big rollover, you know, big like sort of liquidity liquidation move or an accumulation move followed by markup. That's the same thing but flipped. So you have distribution with liquidation and you have accumulation with markup. Very basic Wyckoff concepts, right? But if you are doing it from scratch, I just feel like you're going to spend the next sort of 7 to 10 years just spinning your wheels and trying to invent, a wheel and hot, like, why are we on wheels? Trying to invent hot water. So I would start with, somebody that you trust and go, well, let me see what they're doing. So I'm not really in favor of, if you have a data science background. So maybe, if you're somebody who comes from data science, you already understand probabilities, maybe you can sort of come up with something yourself. But I would highly suggest going somewhere where they already have like a strategy that you can modify. And that's what you should be doing. Like, for example, Coach Ray, he was one of my early market stalkers. We met in 2019. He came to me and he had one way of doing things which wasn't working for him. I changed him from NQ, I changed him to GC, and back then to CL as well. Eventually, he modified what I taught him and added his channels, which was his way of looking at price action, and became a GC-focused trader. So, that's one example, very good example of somebody who's had longevity. He's had his live account for like 5 years, same Topstep account, does not run through combines, 5 years. Like, this is not talked about enough about Ray, right? See, he's held on to the same account for 5 years, So yeah, I'm just worried that it's going to take you so many years when they're perfectly good. Not everybody, obviously, there's a lot of garbage out there as well, but there are, certain tried and tested, I loathe to say it, courses. I mean, I have a course as well, but mine is, again, I never say to people, sign up for my course. You can, but please make sure that you already know about price, that you already know about order types. I'm not going to be sitting there teaching you what a market order is versus a limit order. It's a waste of time for everybody involved. With one quick Google search, you can learn that. But yeah, if you're looking for more, then yeah, maybe you want to consider it. Same thing with, Merritt Black has a pretty good course. Jim Dalton, although Jim, I respect him a lot, but I think his concepts are very, very complex. And I always kind of feel like they're talking from the point of expert view to other experts. And then the newbies take a lot longer to come up. So I basically took that and dumbed it down for what I needed. And obviously it's an ES focused strategy, which parts of it really didn't work for me. Let's be honest, right? So I discarded stuff that didn't work for me, kept the things that did. And, this is why I was like, well, I need to tell others. Like, whoever else is struggling with market profile, here's what I did. Connecting bit of price action to it, time of day. Again, there's a pesky concept. So yeah, I just fear that you will be taking so much longer than necessary. Instead of focusing on developing your skills and tackling your mental triggers, you're going to be deep in the back testing and then finding out all the stuff about strategy design that causes issues, and then you have to start all over again. It's like, but yeah, not really in favor of it. Juanquita wants to know if I ever been to Puerto Rico. No, because I'm European, right? So over here, Puerto Rico is the equivalent to like Spain, France, Portugal, Greece. We have a lot of nice places over here. So Europeans going to Puerto Rico is not really a thing, It's too far. Just like it's not a thing for Europeans to go to Hawaii or somewhere that's like, nice weather and stuff. So, yeah, we choose Spain, France, French Riviera, been there many times. Spain, been all over Spain. Greece, I'm part Greek, so, been to ton of places in there, mainly Rhodes, but because that's one of the areas. And then Athens, We've been to Kavala. We've been to... Oh, God, can I remember all the names now? I don't know. Whole bunch of places, yeah. But yeah, us going transatlantic flight just to get to some warm weather. We have that in Europe. And then, you know, recently I hear people are going to Turkey and stuff. Turkey has come up massively to the point that they are almost a Western country, you know. And it's beautiful, very warm. So yeah, we have a lot of choice over here. So you wouldn't hear people going to places across the ocean. It's like, oh, it's across the ocean. Oh no. All right, so we are literally been stuck in like, what, 5 tick range? Welcome to July. Yeah, very annoying. But yeah, so I'm probably gonna kill this trade as soon as I'm off the stream. But let's just, you know, have something to click and tick up and down whilst we're talking for another few minutes, and then I'll be out to wait for the next session. What's the name of the indicator in the middle? You mean the ribbon? That's actually 3 indicators. So just the regular EMAs anchored to different points. So I have it anchored to low, high, and the close. So you see this? Source, close. So if you go high or low, that way they will never cross. So I use it for when I'm in a trending market. And then I want to see how the price is actually behaving. This is not a trending market, clearly. And it's very quiet. But if we maybe scroll a little bit. Okay, so here's a trend. So let's say you identified a short yesterday pretty well. This I'm pretty sure happened into the power hour side of things. Yeah. So this was power. This was power hour, and let's say you identified this and you go. This is the 90 minutes fade into the close as well. Day range fill, right? So it works across the board. But you see this. You see it gluing away from this ribbon. Ribbon is starting to skew downwards. Well, that's a short. Until that gets back into this area, I like to try and run my trades as long as it allows me to, once you look at the ribbon. And really, until the end of the day, it just would have been the liquidator. So you would have just run it all the way down, and then the liquidator would have gotten it. No sweat at all. So that's so it's not a singular indicator. It's actually three different moving averages. Yeah, Sandy says, come to Serbia, wonderful nature, food, people. Yeah, food is amazing in Serbia. People, I'm still on the fence about that. Otherwise, I would still live there. Yeah, I'm not sure about what's going on with us, but we always seem to be wanting to create, like, I don't know whether people are just bored. But, you know, it's never boring in Serbia, I can tell you that. And the reason why I moved away from there is because I got tired of wars in my teens. And tired of political unrests and all the crap that was going on in the 90s. I was like, I just want to live my life. Don't want to, I just want to play my instruments and be left alone. So yeah, I'm still a little bit scarred from... You know, I'm finding it very difficult because now it's kind of better, but now they have these protests, and it's like, what the hell are you protesting about again? And then they're like, oh yeah, it's police brutality. And yet, you know, I go over there and, you know, I can understand there's like, they're unhappy, I get it, but they say police brutality. And then I see a video of the protesters taking poles and whacking police officers. And I'm like, what do you think is going to happen? It's like if you actually, like you assault a police officer in the UK, you're going to end up in jail, mate. It's like, what the actual, you know, and they're like, oh yeah, police brutality. It's like if you try and beat a police officer, they're going to beat the shit out of you as well. It's like that is what they're supposed to do. They're like doing, but no, people are like, it's police brutality. It's like when I was young, I had a police officer when our prime minister got assassinated in 2000 and, I don't know, 2, 3, whatever it was, and they had the state of emergency immediately. So I was coming back from, this was my life, by the way. I was coming back from rehearsal, and I'm in a cab, and you know I come out of a cab. And I had a big case with a saxophone in. It's a square case. It's actually similar to the one where I have Bob resting on at the moment. So I got out, and suddenly a police officer, a young police officer, running across the big street. It's called the main street, and it's like pretty wide. So he's running and going, "Stop!" Stop, like shouting after me. And I didn't realize he was shouting after me because I was like, "What? I'm just walking, right?" So he comes over and he pulls out a gun and he's like, "Get down! Get down!" It was like, what the fuck is going on? And sorry, excuse my language. And so I get down and he's like, "Open up the suitcase." And I was like, "Don't shoot. It's just a saxophone, man. Don't shoot." So he actually pointed a gun at me, and then I opened up the case and I showed him it was a saxophone. And he was like, "Musician, huh? Get out of here." And I was like, "So you scarred me for life, not an apology, not like, sorry, my mistake. No, get out of here." And I was like, "What are we, cattle? Like, what the?" So that was the final breaking point. That's when I decided to move out. So, and I think things have changed in 20 plus years, whatever, but I don't know. I'm still a bit scarred from that. So I don't particularly like guns in my face. So, yeah. Welcome to my life. It's growing up in Yugoslavia in the 90s and noughties, so yeah. Roy Evans said, "Yeah, I was in Montenegro in 1988. That was fun." Yeah, that was before all the crap started happening. So I was very young. I was 8 or 9 back then. So, and again, we went to Montenegro for lovely holidays as well, lovely vacations. But yeah, my life has been a bit weird because of that, so I probably have a bit of beef with the whole country over the fact that how it was mismanaged, and I was never able to get over it, so that's why I'm not over there anymore. Yeah. Amar says, "Well, you are a shady looking character." Yes. Now I have pink hair. Back then I just had brown hair, so I wasn't even, looking like this. It wasn't until my late sort of 20s that I started dyeing my hair crazy colors. And now I just don't care, so, But yeah, I do think that those experiences have made me into somebody who's able to handle trading better, because obviously we have a lot of ups and downs in trading, and some of the reasons why I don't get that affected by it, I think it was because I went through what I went through. Alright guys, this is not moving, so I'm gonna finish the stream here right on time. I mean, we can sit here and watch paint dry, or we can see whether we get any sort of action later on. I will be on with Anne-Marie with Lunchbox Trading. And yeah, until tomorrow, I don't know, be careful, size down, don't look for, huge moves, maybe focus on the times of day like Euro close and, 90 minutes before electronic close for some kind of action. Otherwise, things are extremely slow, especially for the London session. So yeah, be careful out there. Second part of July, one of the driest months in trading ever. And August, I don't know, maybe if we get some sort of news, headline risk to make it move, someone poke it with a stick. Otherwise, yeah, be careful, because these are dangerous times. If you're flipping and flopping in a range, that can really hurt you. Okay, that's it. I might do a stream tomorrow on my channel because tomorrow is a day when I don't have too much on. So yeah, maybe keep your eyes peeled there. I might post it on Twitter, so if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's underneath this video, and so is my YouTube channel. Topstep has kindly put that down for me. So go check it out. Even though I'm not super active over there, there's still a ton of useful videos that I've made over the last 4 or 5 years. Until then, this has been the Eurotrade on Topstep TV. I'm Market Stalker D, and yes, you will see me a little bit later. In the meantime, have a wonderful day, and I will see you very soon. Take care.